Okay, good morning to all the students. Today we will start worm gear chapter. Up till now we have completed four chapters: spur gear and helical gear. Then second was pressure vessels. Third was statistical considerations in design engineering. Fourth was bevel gear. Now fifth is worm gears. Now worm worm means what? In Maraठी वर्म म्हणजे सुरवंट. सुरवंट म्हणजे जाळी. तुम्ही जर सुरवंट बघितला असेल सगळ्यांनी, त्याची पाठ जर बघितली असेल, त्याच्या पाठीवर असं थ्रेडिंग किंवा त्याच्या संपूर्ण त्याच्या बॉडीवरती थ्रेडेड स्ट्रक्चर दिसतं आपल्याला, म्हणून त्याला वर्म म्हणतात. तसंच हा जो स्क्रू आहे, वॉट एव्हर दिस स्क्रू इज देअर, दिस स्क्रू लुक्स लाईक वर्म. This screw looks like worm because over the whole body of this screw or on this cylinder, these threads are there. Hello, any problem? 62. Sunil, hello Sunil, mute yourself. Hello, Sunil, mute yourself. Therefore, this now in this diagram, this worm means screw, threaded screw is connected to the motor. Therefore, whenever this will rotate, this worm will rotate. Now, from the diagram, you are observing that diameter, pitch circle diameter of worm is smaller than the pitch circle diameter of the worm wheel. Therefore, you have to understand that when this worm or screw will rotate by 20 to 50 revolutions, this worm will rotate by 1 revolution. Therefore, for worm gears, large speed reduction ratio we can achieve. That is maybe from 1s to 20 to above, 1s to 50, 1s to 100. Therefore, you will find that this worm and worm gear are used in material handling equipment. Now, our day-to-day application of worm gear is table fan. At the back side of the table fan, if you will see that table fan is moving like this, towards right or towards left. Therefore, if you will open that back side of the table fan, you will find that worm and worm gears are used. Now, introduction. Again, see the diagram. This is worm shaft, this is worm wheel. Introduction. The worm gear drive consists of a worm and a worm wheel as shown in figure. The worm is a threaded screw which can have single, double, triple or multi-star threads. Worm is generally driver. The worm is usually of cylindrical form having threads of the same shape as that of an involute track. The worm gear is similar to a helical gear with a face curved to conform to the shape of the worm. The worm is generally made of steel and worm gear of phosphor bronze or cast iron. Worm gears are used to transmit power at high velocity ratios between two non-intersecting shafts. The speed ratio may be as high as 300 as to 1. That is when worm will rotate by 300 revolutions, worm wheel will rotate by 1 revolution. The shafts are generally at right angles to each other. Worm gears are used in mechanical handling equipment or material handling equipment, machine tools and automobiles. Advantages of worm gear drive. First, the most important characteristic of worm gear drives is their high speed reduction. A speed reduction as high as 100 as to 1 can be obtained with a single pair of worm gears. The worm gear drives are compact with small overall dimensions compared with equivalent spur or helical gear drives having same speed reduction. The operation is smooth and silent. Provision can be made for self-locking operation where the motion is transmitted only from the worm to the worm wheel. This is advantageous in applications like cranes and lifting devices. Limitations of worm gear drive. The efficiency is low compared with other types of gear drives. Second, the worm wheel in general is made of phosphor bronze, which increases the cost. Third, considerable amount of heat is generated in worm gear drives, which is required to be dissipated by a lubricating oil to the housing walls and finally to the surroundings. Fourth, the power transmitting capacity is low. Worm gear drives are used up to 100 kilowatt of power transmission. It is necessary to consider the relationship between the number of starts on the worm and the efficiency to decide the suitability of worm gear drive for a particular application. Two guidelines are as follows. First, single threaded worm gives large speed reduction. However, the efficiency is low. The large velocity ratio is obtained at the cost of efficiency. Second, multi-threaded worm gives high efficiency. However, the speed reduction is low. The high efficiency is obtained at the cost of speed reduction. The above guidelines lead to four major areas of applications of worm gear drives. They are as follows. First, manually operated intermittent mechanisms. In these applications, large mechanical advantage is required and efficiency is of minor importance. The examples of these mechanisms include steering mechanism and opening and closing gate valves by means of hand wheels. Second, motorized operated intermittent mechanisms. In these applications, a small capacity, low cost motor drives the mechanism and the efficiency is of minor importance. The examples of these mechanisms include drive for small hoists and opening and closing of large gate valves by means of electric motor. Third, motorized continuous operations. In these applications, worm gear drives are used in place of other gear drives due to space limitations and silent operation. The efficiency is more important in these applications. Multi-threaded worms are used in these applications to obtain higher efficiency. The examples of this type include drives for machine tools and elevators. Fourth, motorized speed increasing applications. In these applications, worm gear drives are preferred due to high velocity ratio and silent operation. The efficiency is more important in these applications. Speed increasing applications include drives for automotive supercharger and centrifugal cream charger. In order to increase efficiency, the automotive supercharger is provided with six threaded worm having lead angle of about 45 degree. Now, next point is terminology of worm gears. Now, you are observing the diagram here. This upper circle is known as pitch cylinder of worm wheel. This is known as pitch. D2 is nothing but pitch circle diameter of the worm wheel. D1 is nothing but pitch circle diameter of the worm. Px is nothing but pitch cylinder of worm. A is nothing but center distance. Now here angles are there, psi and gamma. A pair of worm gears is specified and designated by four quantities in the following manner: Z1, Z2, Qm, where Z1 is equal to number of starts on the worm, Z2 is equal to number of teeth on the worm wheel, Q is equal to diametral quotient, and M is equal to module in mm. The diametral quotient is given by Q is equal to D1 divided by M, where D1 is the pitch circle diameter of the worm. A schematic diagram of the worm and worm wheel is shown in figure. D1 and D2 are the pitch circle diameters of the worm and the worm wheel respectively. The worm is similar to a screw with single start or multi-start threads. The threads of the worm have an involute helicoid profile. The following terms are used in terminology of worm gear drives. First, axial pitch, that is px. The axial pitch px of the worm is defined as the distance measured from a point on one thread to the corresponding point on the adjacent thread, measured along the axis of the worm. Lead L. The lead L of the worm is defined as the distance that a point on the helical profile will move when the worm is rotated through one revolution. It is the thread advance in one turn. For single start threads, the lead is equal to the axial pitch. For double start threads, the lead is twice the axial pitch, and so on. Therefore, L is equal to P into Z1. The pitch circle diameter of the worm wheel is given by D2 is equal to mz2. Therefore, Px is equal to P into M. Therefore, L is equal to pi m Z1. Now, lead angle gamma. The lead angle gamma is defined as the angle between a tangent to the thread at the pitch diameter and a plane normal to the worm axis. Therefore, tan of gamma is equal to Z1 upon Q. Next, helix angle psi. The helix angle psi is defined as the angle between a tangent to the thread at the pitch diameter and the axis of the worm. The worm helix angle is the complement of the worm lead angle. Therefore, psi plus gamma is equal to 90 degree. Now, pressure angle alpha. The tooth pressure angle alpha is measured in a plane containing the axis of the worm and it is equal to 1/2 of the thread angle. It is illustrated in figure. The pressure angle should not be less than 20 degree for single and double start worms and 25 degree for triple and multi start worms. Center distance A. It is the distance between the axis of the worm and the axis of the gear. A is equal to 0.5 d1 plus d2, which is equal to 0.5 m into bracket q plus z2. Number of starts or threads on the worm z1. It is the number of thread helices cut around the cylindrical body of the worm along the length of the worm. The number of starts on the worm should not normally exceed 6. The recommended values of number of starts are given in table 1. Table 1, number of starts on worm. In one column, speed ratio I is there. In second column, number of starts on worm Z1 is there. Therefore, for 20 and over, number of starts 1. For speed ratio I is equal to 12 to 16. Number of starts 2. 8 to 12, 3. 6 to 12, 4. 4 to 10, 6. Speed ratio I, it is the ratio of the speed of worm to that of the gear. Therefore, I is equal to Z2 upon Z1, which is equal to N1 upon N2. Now, we will see proportions of worm gears. The basic dimensions of the worm and the worm wheel are shown in figure. For an involute helicoid tooth form, HA1 means addendum of the worm is equal to M. HF1 dedendum of the worm is equal to 2.2 cos gamma minus 1 into M. C is equal to clearance 0.2 m cos gamma, where HA1 is equal to addendum in mm, HF1 is equal to dedendum in mm, C is equal to clearance in mm. The outside and root diameters of the worm are expressed as follows. DA1 is equal to D1 plus 2HA1 is equal to QM plus 2M. Therefore, DA1 is equal to M into bracket Q plus 2. Similarly, df1, da1 means addendum circle diameter of the worm, df1 means dedendum circle diameter of the worm is equal to d1 minus 2hf1, which is equal to qm minus 2m into bracket 2.2 cos gamma minus 1. Therefore df1 is equal to m into bracket q plus 2 minus 4.4 cos gamma, where da1 is equal to outside diameter of the worm in mm, df1 is equal to root diameter of the worm in mm. Similarly, the dimensions of the worm wheel can be expressed. The addendum and dedendum of the worm wheel are expressed at the throat. They are given by ha2 is equal to m into bracket 2 cos gamma minus 1, hf2 is equal to m into bracket 1 plus zero point 0.2 cos gamma, where ha2 is equal to addendum at the throat in mm, hf2 is equal to dedendum in the median plane in mm. The dimensions of the worm wheel are as follows: da2 is equal to d2 plus 2ha2, which is equal to mz2 plus 2m into bracket 2 cos gamma minus 1. Therefore da2 is equal to m into bracket z2 plus 4 cos gamma minus 2. df2 is equal to d2 plus 2hf2, which is equal to mz2 minus 2m into bracket 1 plus zero point 0.2 cos gamma. Therefore df2 is equal to m into bracket z2 minus 2 minus zero point 0.4 cos gamma, where da2 is equal to throat diameter of the worm wheel in mm, df2 is equal to root diameter of the worm wheel in mm. The effective face width of the worm wheel is shown in figure. This is the effective face width f. It is obtained by drawing a tangent AB to the pitch circle diameter of the worm. This is the pitch circle diameter. We have drawn tangent line AB. A and B are the points of intersection of this tangent and the outside diameter of the worm. Therefore, from triangle AOC, AC bar square is equal to AO bar square minus OC bar square, which is equal to F by 2 bracket square is equal to DA1 divided by 2 bracket square minus D1 divided by 2 bracket square, which is equal to M plus Q by 2 divided by 2 bracket square minus QM divided by 2 bracket square. Therefore, F is equal to 2M plus square root of Q plus 1 from triangle OZC1. OZC1, if you will see OZC1, sin delta is equal to C1Z divided by OZ. Therefore, C1Z is equal to F by 2 divided by DA1 plus 2C divided by 2. Therefore, delta is equal to sin inverse of F divided by DA1 plus 2C. The length of the root of the worm wheel teeth is the arc XYZ, which is denoted by LR. Therefore, LR is equal to arc XYZ, which is equal to 2 delta divided by 2 pi into bracket pi into dA1 plus 2c, which is equal to dA1 plus 2c into delta. Therefore, LR is equal to dA1 plus 2c into sine inverse of F divided by dA1 plus 2c. Now, we will see force analysis. The analysis of three components of the resultant tooth force between the meshing teeth of worm and worm wheel is based on the following assumptions. The worm wheel is the driving element while the worm wheel is the driven element. The worm has right-handed threads. The worm rotates in anti-clockwise direction as shown in figure. The three components of the gear tooth force between the worm and the worm wheel are shown in figure. Suffix 1 is used for the worm while suffix 2 is used for the worm wheel. Therefore, this is worm wheel, this is worm. This is the radial force. R means radial force, A means axial force, T means tangential force. Therefore, P1T is equal to tangential component on the worm in Newton. P1A is equal to axial component on the worm in Newton. P1R radial component on the worm in Newton. The components P2T, P2A and P2R acting on the worm wheel are defined in a similar way. The force acting on the worm wheel is the equal and opposite reaction of the force acting on the worm. Therefore, P2T tangential force on the worm wheel is equal to axial force on the worm. Axial force on the worm wheel is equal to tangential force on the worm. Radial force on the worm wheel is equal to radial force on the worm. In the present analysis, the expressions are derived for the components of force acting on the worm. The components of force acting on the worm wheel can be determined by the above relationship. The resultant force acting on the worm consists of two components: components of normal reaction between the meshing teeth and components of frictional force. The two components are superimposed to get the resultant components. Now this is the components of normal reaction. This is the pitch helix. This is the pitch cylinder of the worm. This is direction of motion. Therefore, gamma is nothing but lead angle. Alpha is nothing but pressure angle. Therefore, A, B, C, D. We have taken A, B, C, D rectangle outside. AB indicates normal force or normal reaction. PR is nothing but radial force, which is indicated by AD, which is equal to BC. Similarly, EA indicates tangential force. AF indicates axial force PA. AB indicates normal force or normal reaction PN. Therefore, the components of the normal reaction P acting on the worm are shown in figure. Here A is the normal pressure angle while gamma is the lead angle. Note that the angle alpha means normal pressure angle. Angle alpha is in the plane ABCD shaded by dots, while the angle gamma is in the top plane AEBF. Resolving the normal reaction P in the plane ABCD shown in figure. Therefore, we can write from this rectangle ABCD, Pn is equal to P cos alpha, PR is equal to P sin alpha. Resolving the component Pn in the plane AEBF as shown in figure. Therefore, AEBF angle gamma is there. Therefore, axial force PA is equal to Pn cos gamma. Tangential force is equal to Pn sin gamma. Substituting values of Pn. Therefore, Pt is equal to P cos alpha sin gamma. Pa is equal to P cos alpha cos gamma. Pr is equal to P sin alpha. The frictional force is significant in worm gear drives because there is sliding motion between the threads of the worm and the teeth of the worm wheel as compared with the rolling motion between the teeth of the pinion and gear in other types of gears. The resultant frictional force is mu p, where mu is the coefficient of friction. The direction of the frictional force will be along the pitch helix and opposite to the direction of rotation as shown in figure. There are two components of the frictional force. Component mu p cos gamma in the tangential direction. The direction of this component is same as that of tangential force Pt. Component mu p sin gamma in the axial direction. The direction of this component is opposite to that of Pa, that is axial force. Superimposing the components of normal reaction and frictional force, we have P1T is equal to P cos alpha sin gamma plus mu p cos gamma. Therefore, P1T we have taken P outside into bracket cos alpha sin gamma plus mu cos gamma. Similarly, P1A is equal to P cos alpha cos gamma minus mu p sin gamma. Therefore, P1A is equal to P into bracket cos alpha cos gamma minus mu sin gamma, and P1R is equal to P sin alpha. In practice, the tangential component P1T on the worm is determined from the torque that is transmitted from the worm to the worm wheel. Therefore, P1T is equal to 2mt divided by D1, equation 1. P1A is equal to P1T into bracket cos alpha cos gamma minus mu sin gamma divided by cos alpha sin gamma plus mu cos gamma, equation 2. P1R is equal to P1T into sin alpha divided by cos alpha sin gamma plus mu cos gamma, equation 3. Now, these are the three forces P1T, P1A and P1R. Now, we will find out efficiency of worm gear drive. Therefore, the efficiency of worm gear drive is given by efficiency is equal to power output divided by power input, which is equal to P2T into D2 divided by 2 into N2 divided by P1T into D1 divided by 2 into N1. Since N2 upon N1 is equal to 1 upon I and D2 upon D1 is equal to MZ2 divided by MQ, which is equal to Z2 upon Q, which is equal to Z2 upon Z1, which is equal to Z2 upon Z1 divided by Q upon Z1, which is equal to I tan gamma. From A, B, C, we are having efficiency is equal to P2T upon P1T into tan gamma, which is equal to P1A upon P1T into tan gamma. Therefore, efficiency neta is equal to tan gamma into bracket cos alpha cos gamma minus mu sin gamma divided by cos alpha sin gamma plus mu cos gamma. Efficiency is equal to cos alpha minus mu tan gamma divided by cos alpha plus mu cot gamma. The efficiency of spur or helical gears is high, is very high and virtually constant in the range of 98 to 99%. On the other hand, the efficiency of worm gears is low and varies considerably in the range of 50% to 98%. In general, the efficiency is inversely proportional to speed ratio provided the coefficient of friction is constant. Now, selection of materials for worm and worm gear. The selection of materials for the worm and the worm wheel is more limited than it is for other types of gears. The threads of the worm are subjected to fluctuating stresses and the number of stress cycles is fairly large. Therefore, the surface endurance strength is an important criterion in the selection of the worm material. The core of the worm should be kept ductile and tough to ensure maximum energy absorption. The worms are therefore made of case hardened steel with a surface hardness of 60 HRC and a case depth of 0.75 to 4.5 mm. The following varieties of steel are used for the worm: normalized carbon steels 40C8, 55C8, case hardened carbon steel 10C4, 14C6, case hardened alloy steels 16Ni80Cr60, 20Ni2Mo25, nickel chromium steels 30Ni3Cr80, 15Ni4Cr1. The magnitude of contact stresses on the worm wheel teeth is the same as that on the worm threads. However, the number of stress cycles is reduced by a factor equal to the speed reduction. The worm wheel cannot be accurately generated in the hubbing process. The final profile and finish of the worm wheel teeth is the result of plastic deformation during the initial stages of service. Therefore, the worm wheel material should be soft and conformable. Phosphor bronze with a surface hardness of 90 to 120 BHN is widely used for the worm wheel. Phosphor bronze worm wheels are sand cast and chill or centrifugally cast. Phosphor bronze is costly and in case of worm wheels with large dimensions, only the outer rim is made of phosphor bronze. It is then bolted to the cast iron wheel. There are two reasons for using dissimilar or heterogeneous materials for worms and worm wheels. The coefficient of friction is reduced. The conformability of worm wheel with respect to the worm is improved. In spur, helical or wheel gears, the same material can be used for pinion and gear. In worm gear drive, however, dissimilar materials are used for the worm and the worm wheel. Now, strength rating of worm gears. Since the teeth of the worm wheel are weaker than the threads of the worm, the design for strength can be based on Levy's equation as applied to worm wheel teeth. In this case, it is not necessary to design the worm on the basis of strength. The worm gears are usually designed according to national and international codes. There are two basic equations, beam strength and wear strength equations. The maximum permissible torque that the worm wheel can withstand without bending failure is given by the lower of the following two values. Therefore, MT1 is equal to 17.65 XB1 into SB1 into M into LR into D2 cos gamma. MT2 is equal to 17.65 into XB2 into SB2 into M into LR into D2 cos gamma. where mt1 and mt2 is equal to permissible torque on the worm wheel in Newton mm. xb1 xb2 is equal to speed factors for strength of worm and worm wheel. SB1 is and SB2 bending stress factors of worm and worm wheel. M is equal to module in mm. LR is equal to length of the root of the worm wheel teeth in mm. D2 is equal to pitch circle diameter of worm wheel in mm. Gamma is equal to lead angle of the worm. The power transmitting capacity based on beam strength is given by kilowatt is equal to 2 pi n mt divided by 16 to 10 raised to 6, where mt is the lower value between mt1 and mt2. Therefore, we have to calculate mt1 and mt2 separately, and whichever is lower, that we have to take for calculation here. Now next, wear rating of worm gears. The maximum permissible torque that the worm wheel can withstand without pitting failure is given by the lower of the following two values. mt3 is equal to 18.64 xc1 into sc1 into yz into d2 raised to 1.8 into m. mt4 is equal to 18.64 into xc2 into sc2 into yz into d2 raised to 1.8 into m, where mt3 and mt4 is equal to permissible torques on the worm wheel in Newton mm. xc1 xc2 is equal to speed factors for the wear of worm and worm wheel. sc1 sc2 is equal to surface stress factors for of the worm and worm wheel. Yz is equal to zone factor. Now similarly we have to calculate mt3 and mt4, and whichever is minimum that we have to take calculation for kilowatt. Therefore the power transmitting capacity based on beam strength is given by kilowatt is equal to 2 pi n mt divided by 16 to 10 raised to 6, where mt is the lower value between mt3 and mt4. Now the last theory point, thermal considerations. The efficiency of a worm gear drive is low and the work done by friction is converted into heat. When the worm gears operate continuously, considerable amount of heat is generated. The rate of heat generated Hg is given by Hg is equal to 1000 into 1 minus eta into kilowatt, where Hg is equal to rate of heat generation in watt. Neta is equal to efficiency of worm gears in fraction, means less than 1. Kilowatt is equal to power transmitted by gears in kilowatt. The heat dissipated through the lubricating oil to the housing wall and finally to the surrounding air. The rate of heat dissipated Hd by the housing walls to the surrounding air is given by Hd is equal to K into bracket T minus T naught into A, capital A, where Hd is equal to the rate of heat dissipation in watt. K is equal to overall heat transfer coefficient of housing walls watt per meter square degree Celsius. T is equal to temperature of the lubricating oil in degree Celsius. T naught is equal to temperature of the surrounding air in degree Celsius. A is equal to effective surface area of housing in meter square. Therefore, equating heat generation to the heat dissipation. Therefore, 1000 into 1 minus eta into kilowatt is equal to K into bracket T minus T naught into A. Therefore, kilowatt is equal to K into T minus T naught into A divided by 1000 into 1 minus eta, equation 1. Therefore, from this equation 1, you can calculate small t. Therefore, small t is equal to T naught plus 1000 into bracket 1 minus eta into kilowatt divided by K into A, equation 2. Equation 1 gives the power transmitting capacity based on thermal considerations. Equation 2 gives the resultant temperature of the lubricating oil for a given power transmitting capacity. The overall heat transfer coefficient under normal working conditions with natural air circulations is 12 to 18 watt per meter square degree Celsius. This value can be further increased by providing a fan on the worm shaft and arranging the fins horizontally along the stream of air. In such cases, the value of the overall heat transfer coefficient can be taken as 20 to 28 watt per meter square degree Celsius. It has been observed that the maximum permissible temperature for commonly used lubricating oils is 95 degrees Celsius, above which it loses its properties and there is a danger of gear tooth failure due to seizure. Therefore, this is the end of the theory. Now please wait, I will write your attendance. Don't leave. Don't leave the class, please wait. लक्षात सगळ्या गोष्टी आपण लक्षात आल्या. एक दोन तीन चार सहा सात आठ. एक दोन तीन चार सहा सात. Please don't leave the class. 15 16 17 15 16 17 20. 23 25 23. मस्त रे मस्त. मस्त गेम झाले. 33 34 35 31 34 35 38 43 44 45 40 44 45 कोणाशी बोलले आपण 46 त्यांचे लोक आहेत नसतं. 47 50 51 53 54 50 51 53 54 55 56 62 63 64 65 62 63 65 68 71. काय असं जाऊ दे आपलं कोण जातो. 71 73 76. ओंकार पाळके. एकदम मस्त काम झालं माझं काम. Okay, thank you very much. We'll stop here. Thank you. मस्त रे मस्त. एकदम मस्त. लक्षात ठेवून घे. सगळ्या गोष्टी लक्षात आल्या.